6 key features that it hopes to lay out across the world. The consequences of inaction will be extremely serious. As many as 12,000 people could die every day from COVID-linked hunger, which is more than those dying daily from the virus itself. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The Aurora, Colorado Police Department has been under scrutiny over the death of Elisha McLean for over the last month since it finally got the attention it deserved. Now, they are now facing yet another lawsuit after an officer with the department held a doctor at gunpoint on his own property for no reason. The Free Thought Project reports Dr. P.J. Palmer, who is an Indian American, was dropping off gear from a Boy Scout trip at the Mango House building, which is a community center and shared space for refugees that he owns. For those who may be unaware, Palmer founded Artist Family Medicine, a private practice that serves settled refugees, and Mango House, a home for refugees with activities and services that include dental care, food and clothing banks, churches, scout troops, and after-school programs. He's a pillar of the community and a selfless man who has dedicated his life to helping others. U.S. Customs and Border Protection published a new assessment titled Privacy Impact Assessment for the CPB license plate reader technology, outlining the agency's plan to combine its database on license plate images with ones from local and state governments, law enforcement agencies, parking garages, toll booth cameras, and financial institutions. Activist Post reports the U.S. has a massive network of automatic license plate readers typically found on police cars and toll booths, used to collect license plates of vehicles passing by. In particular, one database, called the Wrecker Public Safety Network, law enforcement are given real-time access to license plates. It captures approximately 150 million plate reads per month. To better protect the nation, the CPB's new assessment indicates it now wants direct access to those databases. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
If he looks different than the other students on this college campus, it's because he's only 13 years old. But the amazing young Tyler is already consuming alcohol on the level of someone twice his age, and his talents have gotten him accepted at Ohio State University. We are lucky to be joined today by the little prodigy himself, along with Tyler's parents, Jack and Christine. Good morning, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Tyler, most kids your age are in middle school and probably think that alcohol doesn't taste good, but not you.
Yeah, I like to drink liquor or beer or whatever. There's way more beer at college than at my house.
I'll bet there is. Your professors and classmates, everyone there at OSU says you just fit right in. You must have a lot of new friends.
Yeah, I'm just like everybody else. I go to class, I show up wasted, I leave early.
Wow.
So many impressive moments. You're active in a fraternity. You've streaked at 4 baseball games. You've broken an arm falling off a house. You've even made the wall of shame at O'Hooligans.
That night was stupid crazy.
That was a special day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. That's right, we are live. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time that you are hearing my voice, we are live.
Podcast listeners.
That's right, podcast listeners. And there's plenty of delayed broadcast radio listeners out there. Free Talk Live makes ourselves available to any station that wants to carry us in any way they want to carry us. We're there to fill time if that's what they need, because we've got a better contract than the rest of the shows out there, too. And it's probably one of the reasons that we have 200 radio stations, or nearly so.
And you're not getting preempted for sports anymore.
Right now. but we're happy to get preempted for sports. You want to put girls lacrosse on? Fine. Whatever. That's what we do here. It's Mark.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
You can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about, because that's what we do here on Free Talk Live. That's why we call it Free Talk Live. I, guys, have been concerned. I have come up with this scenario. It's been posited in a few different ways out there. I won't claim to be the unique creator of this scenario, but I've come up with a scenario in my mind. So you're hearing a lot about voting from home and mail-in ballots and new ways to vote because of
stealing the elections.
Well, it came up last time.
What's that?
The possibility of not trusting the outcome of an election, and would you still? They asked Trump specifically if he lost, if he would still
vacate the office.
Yeah,
right.
And he said no.
Well, let me put the scenario.
Nope, there will be rioting in the streets.
Yeah, so let's put the scenario in place here. And ladies and gentlemen, you can call in at 1-855-450-3733 and give your whatever it is that you're thinking about as I say it. But it's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. Here's the scenario. Now, Joe Biden and Trump run. Now, I'm kind of the opinion that Trump is a stronger candidate than Biden, because Biden has agreed to participate in 3 debates with Trump, and I think that this is, it's going to be a circus.
Get the medics ready,
never looked
be
forward to a presidential debate so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tourette's versus dementia, and I want to see how it goes.
And I do think it's elder abuse, but in the very,
I'm fine with that. You know what?
It's voluntary.
We've put up with their crap for long enough. We can abuse them when they're elderly now. So, you call it what you want. But let's say Trump loses, because many of the big polls out there are saying that Trump is going to lose.
Just like they did last time.
Yeah, they said that last time. But let's go with that.
Okay.
All right. So Trump loses by a narrow margin, because I think everybody's going to agree that it's not going to be by a landslide.
Right.
So let's say Trump loses by a narrow margin in electoral votes, because those are the only things that count.
That is the game they're playing.
Trump says that, whatever the state is in question, because you can win with, I think I just figured it out last week, you can win with as few as 12 states if you get the right 12 states. You won't, because states aren't laid out that way. But with the right 12 states, you can win the election. So Trump, picks a state or two in his mind, and he, posits on it and says, this state had crappy elections because they had mail-in ballots, and those mail-in ballots said, what about the soldiers, and whatever the scenario is, right? So their election over there was bad, and they need to do a recount. Uh-oh. And I'm not
hanging chads again.
Yeah, I'm not conceding anything until this recount's done, and they better count and make me president, because otherwise they're wrong.
I always think it's funny that they never get the same number when they do recounts, ever, under any circumstances.
That should be a red flag.
I would think.
Yeah.
Especially for those people wondering, does my individual vote count? Well, maybe. It might count not at all. It might count double.
I'm pretty sure mine doesn't. So I'm not saying Biden's contestation of the election is meaningful, because Biden doesn't have the White House currently. So Democrats, don't get upset that I'm picking Trump for this scenario, or Republicans, don't get upset that I'm picking Trump for this scenario. The reason I'm picking him is because he's currently the commander-in-chief. He commands the world's and history's largest and most deadly military. All right? That's the reason I'm picking him. Just decades ago, Nixon had soldiers placed around the White House every 6 feet, protecting him from things. I'm not sure what.
And one of the things that's been pointed out about Trump as a general strategy is he always gets the biggest, toughest, gnarliest guys on his side. The police officers, the coal miners, just anyone who's tough. That's who he gets on his side. And last time, he was perfectly willing to say, no, we'll have riots in the streets, when he didn't have the military.
Right. So
Tough guys who you want on your side.
The tough guys.
If you're going to have a civil war, you want the tough guys.
Indeed. And we've already outlined on the show multiple times that if there is a left versus right, red versus blue civil war in the United States, I'm sorry, the Democrats can barely agree on which bathroom to use. The Republicans, they all know how to break down an AR-15. All right, so this is not the way you want your war to go.
I don't know. Democrats are violent, though. That's the Antifa people out in the streets.
They can be violent in the city where the other Democrats are.
Okay,
all they do is blow up their own cities.
Fair enough.
Right. The Portland people aren't rushing out into the hillside of Oregon.
Understood.
Because things would go badly for them there.
But to say they're incapable of violence is...
Oh, no. They're capable of violence.
Okay.
It's just kind of... But so are 4-year-olds.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Less efficient, less effective, not terribly well directed, especially if you're worried about non-urban America.
If you just rank out who's got the rifles, because those are going to be important in some kind of civil unrest. If you just decide who has the rifles, it's very large, and the people that would fall closer to the right. I'm not saying Republicans, because there's a lot of independents out there, but
that much I get. It's the stereotypes, the stereotypical soy boy, right? Visage that people put on the left or the Democrats when they're the ones actively out in the streets rioting and causing mayhem, right? So they're clearly capable of it. Whether or not that translates well to rural warfare.
Well, one of the problems is that if you pull out a gun on one of these people that's prepared to commit violence, you go to jail. Even in states where you're allowed to stand your ground, or you've got the castle doctrine, whatever the situation may be, it's a problem. And I don't quite understand that.
Advantage them.
Yeah. And we have an article that I do want to talk about here that say that conservatives are scared. And I want to get into that. But I just kind of want to go through this article here. It's from BostonGlobe.com. A bipartisan group secretly gathered to game out a contested Trump-Biden election. And it wasn't pretty. Now, I just want people's minds to kind of go, on the scenario that I've been thinking about. What if Trump decides he's not going to leave the office, and, I don't care whether the vote was corrupt or not, or any of these things. Remember, I don't care which one of these people wins, or at least I don't have party affiliations strongly in one way or the other. So I do think things would be different if either one won or lost, but I will be voting for Joe Jorgensen if I vote at all, and I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to, because I'll probably be in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands when this goes on, and I'm not even sure. So
Biden's running mate may be the most important person in this entire election cycle.
Agreed. But, anyway, let me go on here. Washington. On the second Friday in June, a group of political operatives, former government and military officials, and academics quietly convened online for what became a disturbing exercise in the fragility of American democracy. The group, which included Democrats and Republicans, gathered to game out the possible results of the November election, grappling with questions that seem far less far-fetched by the day. What if Trump refuses to concede a loss, as he's publicly hinted recently that he might do?
Didn't even hint it. He declared it to be so.
How far could he go to preserve his power, and what if Democrats refuse to give in? All of our scenarios ended in both street-level violence and political impasse, said Rosa Brooks, a Georgetown law professor and former Defense Department official who co-organized the group known as the Transition Integrity Project, or TIP. She described just the tip here. She described what she found in bleak terms. The law is essentially, it's almost helpless against a president who's willing to ignore it. 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. News from news.bitcoin.com. The IRS is requesting information about privacy cryptos from people that are still filing their income tax forms. Coinbase may be planning to go public on the stock market this year. Stablecoin Tether is now circulating on the Bitcoin Cash network. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet,
buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Log on now at news.bitcoin.com. Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. It is Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We are talking about basically the next American Civil War, but a group of experts got together to sort of map out what would happen if Trump decides.
Whose time has come.
What would happen if Trump decides not to leave office? And it wouldn't be good for a lot of things, including business. But if you are in business, you ought to consider accepting cryptocurrencies because, well, right now, those would be some pretty loyal customers to have. It'd be nice to be able to do business with some cryptocurrency folks. In fact, I did some cryptocurrency business just last night at a local place here in Keene, New Hampshire. And you, too, can accept cryptocurrencies at your business. Go to anypayinc.com. It's anypayinc.com. They've got point of sale. They've got ways that you can interact with businesses and get a little percentage of the crypto that's sent there. You can act as a freelance salesperson for AnyPay just by going out and introducing people to cryptocurrency. Anypayinc.com to answer all your crypto questions regarding businesses accepting it. Let's go back to the article here from Boston Globe. Using a role-playing game that is a fixture of military and national security planning, the group, and this is the group of experts I mentioned, envisioned a dark 11 weeks between Election Day and Inauguration Day, one in which Trump and his Republican allies used every apparatus of government, the Postal Service, state lawmakers, Justice Department, federal agents, and the military to hold on to power. Democrats took to the courts and to the streets to try to stop it. If it sounds paranoid or outlandish, a war room of seasoned politicos and constitutional experts playing Washington version of Dungeons and Dragons in which the future of the republic hangs in the balance, well, they get it. But as they finalize a report on what they learned and began briefing elected officials and others, they insist their warning is serious. A close election this fall is likely to be contested, and there are few guardrails to stop a constitutional crisis.
I feel like this has come up in multiple elections in my adult life. And I wonder, I'm not that old, but I wonder if people were concerned about this long before that, right? Like when Bush was in office, it's like, well, was he going to leave office? And then he left peacefully. And then the other side was like, well, is Obama going to leave office because he's still so popular? And he left peacefully.
These are the things that libertarians think about a lot, so I just want to make sure that everyone knows you didn't just lob me a fastball or a softball here. But the fact is that I'm worried about this. Presidents weren't supposed to be this powerful. When you go through and you talk to
I get it.
Historians, I know. Well, let me finish here.
Okay.
When you talk to historians, and historians, rank the presidents from greatest to least great. They'll rank George Washington, a guy who turned down being a king. They'll rank, Lincoln, the guy who is responsible for the death of more Americans than any other person in history. They'll rank FDR, the guy who stayed in office 4 times and threatened to stack the Supreme Court in what isn't unconstitutional, but certainly is an immoral way. As they rank them, you'll be like, oh my God, these are the worst of them. Okay. By abuse of power standard. The ones that they consider to be the worst presidents always are people like Franklin Pierce.
They were ineffectual.
Right, ineffective. They didn't do much when they were in office, and they didn't get much done.
Do-nothing presidents. But those aren't the kind of president that we want to worship. Appreciate.
Was this conversation had when Jimmy Carter left office? Like I wasn't old enough.
No.
No. Was it had when Ronald Reagan left office?
No.
No. Okay. So how has it become a thing in recent memory where there's is it legitimate fear that the president is not going to leave?
I've only heard Republicans say it. I heard some people say it about Obama, but I never believed it for a second.
Okay.
So
the versions I always heard involved at least like making a change to the Constitution so that you could have more terms than is currently allowed.
Sure.
So, they were worried about it, but they weren't worried that he just would get voted out and stay.
I think that probably the worst thing about a president is that Americans seem to like to elect him the second time. And if you want a president to behave himself, you don't want to make him a lame duck. And by a lame duck, I just mean that, a president on their second term has nothing to lose. They can do whatever they want. And they all seem to get it. And that I consider to be a problem. I would prefer my presidents to last for 4 years and to be largely ineffectual. And let me go back to this whole ineffectual thing. People seem to lionize. They seem to like the big, strong president, the one that is willing to use the office. But in fact, that's not what was envisioned by the framers. The framers envisioned a guy that was going to sign off on bills coming through from Congress or veto them, and then to be the face of the nation, like the king was, but just sort of a king that was going to only be in power for 8 years, and he'd be outward facing. That's why they made him the commander-in-chief of the military, and the military wasn't supposed to be used on American citizens.
Well, and the military wasn't even supposed to be any kind of standing army. Like, you were supposed to have a standing navy because you're always going to have water borders, but a standing army wasn't supposed to ever exist. But they found the way around that, oh, well, we don't have a standing army. We just happen to have an army that we've had for decades and decades and decades.
Oh, yeah,
because
it's never
every
been
single
disbanded.
year we ratify that it gets to continue to
Right,
exist.
the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, has every 2 years, I think they make a new one and give new spending to the military. But this is kind of the issue. What's at issue here is that the president has grown stronger and stronger and stronger over time, and will likely continue to do so. And
this issue is going to get worse over time. Then,
this issue is going to be worse. If it's not Trump, then it's going to be, the next guy, whomever that is, or the guy after that. I don't know, but I think that there's a strong likelihood that it could be Trump.
Until one day he actually doesn't leave office.
Yeah.
And apart from what he says in tweets, I think the biggest reason that Trump in particular is a big concern with this is that he's not what you expect. He's not a politician. He doesn't play the ordinary game. Like, politicians have a very specific game that they play, and they speak a certain way, and they play by certain rules, and he doesn't do that. And I think that's why people are more worried than they would otherwise.
That was part of his appeal.
Yeah,
running up
absolutely.
To it.
Yeah, that's part of the whole deal. Let's go on here. So these experts insist they're warning serious. A close election this fall is likely to be contested, and there are a few guardrails to stop a constitutional crisis, particularly if Trump flexes the considerable tools at his disposal to give himself advantage. He doesn't have to win the election, said Nils Gilman, an historian who leads research at a think tank called the Bergen Institute and was an organizer of the exercise. He just has to create a plausible narrative that he didn't lose. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that there's already a plausible narrative in play that Trump didn't lose, because there's going to be absentee ballots mailed in. Whether it's a whole bunch of them or whether it's just a few, I don't know how it's going to go, but Republicans don't like this. They like to limit the amount of people who can vote at any given time, and I can see the value in making it difficult to vote, because if it's supposed to be a valuable act, then it shouldn't be just something that everybody can do. But whatever.
Only landowners.
Right. Well, that's what it was in the Constitution. That's what the framers thought. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Richie Rich.
And the Peakless Mountaineer will be back here nearly here in a moment. I probably should have just not done the whole name thing there, but whatever,
It's got to get a beverage, man.
Indeed. One does have to. I want to tell you about Divvy. So Divvy has been advertising with Free Talk Live for nearly a year now. And what we've seen is that now, in conjunction with their the release of their beta wallet, which is soon to be their new wallet, which is going to make it very easy to use Divvy, which it already is an easy to use cryptocurrency, but it's intended to be so easy your grandmother can use it, as they say. And that people are testing this wallet and liking what they see. So people are investing more heavily in Divvy, thus driving up the price. And those that listened to Free Talk Live early on made some good money. And I can tell you that in talking to the Divvy folks, they really do expect more upward mobility. And that's the whole plan here, right? Is that once this wallet comes out, you're going to see more people doing well in Divvy. Perhaps you'd like to go to divvyproject.org, check out their Masternode program, their staking program. That way you not only can buy some Divvy, but you can earn some Divvy in the process. So it's divvyproject.org, DIVI, divvyproject.org. And there you go. We have been pretty happy with our relationship with Divvy. Let's go on with this article from the Boston Globe, where they're talking about experts who sort of mapped out what it would be like if there was a dispute in the election.
The post-Trump apocalypse.
And maybe Trump doesn't leave office. Because you don't have to worry about Biden not leaving office. If Biden disputes the election, well, he's the guy who's not in office. He's not in office, What's the big deal? The very existence of a group like this one, which was formed late last year, this is the experts, underscores the extent of the fear in Washington's political circles and beyond that Trump will take the same hammer as he has used to fracture the norms of executive governance over the past 3 years and upend the nation's delicate tradition of orderly political transitions of power by refusing to concede his losses. As you said, Richie Rich, right? But I can totally see Republicans and Trump and people who don't trust the system saying that the system that is deciding whether or not Trump needs to lead the office is corrupt and is lying, and that this was a close election. Why are you picking on our guy?
And I could see an explosion of violence going the other way if he wins the election.
But those would be Antifa violence, destroying their own Democrat cities, though.
There is that.
There you go. Whatever. That's. I do expect to see something going in the. There's already violence going on right now, but I think it'll calm down. I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
kind of depends on how the lockdown goes. Because I think the
lockdown's in place because people want Trump to do badly and people to be unhappy. I'm pretty unhappy about the lockdown, I gotta say.
Well, also, they had nothing better to do. Like, these are people that couldn't be at work, couldn't be at home sleeping from work. They had nothing to do, no concerts, no church services, no nothing. There was nothing going on except a riot.
Just blow off some steam.
So they joined the riot.
We have norms in our transition rather than laws, said Rachel Kleinfeld, a senior fellow at the Democracy, Conflict, and Governance program at the Carnegie Foundation, who was not part of the game. This entire election season is something a democracy expert would worry about. It is a fear that has been stoked by the president himself, who has repeatedly warned, without offering evidence, of widespread fraud involving mail-in ballots, which voters are likely to use at an unprecedented level because of the pandemic has made in-person voting a potential health risk, to cast doubt on the results of November's election. Now,
are they admitting that they're going to run this pandemic all the way through the November elections?
They are. Absolutely. The pandemic will end on Wednesday, the first Wednesday in November. So I have done both of these things. I have both mailed in my ballot and been at the town hall when everything was counted. I wanted to see, how does this work? How does this democracy
And your
work?
vote mattered both times.
Well, I don't know. It seemed like everything seemed legit in my little town, the way that they do things here in New Hampshire. And I was happy with what I saw when I saw the counting. So I'm like, okay, that seems fine. So I sent my ballot in, and I'm confident that it got counted. If it didn't, it didn't. But I did check the totals of the town, and the Libertarians were in. There was enough Libertarian votes in the right places to account for mine and my wife's votes during that time frame. So,
I've always thought that it was weird that the form of voting that actually leaves a paper trail is the one that people are concerned about there being fraud in. And I mean, to be fair, there is some evidence that you get a higher percentage of voter fraud, which is already very rare in mail-in ballots. But you'd think that because that's the one where we actually know, okay, this person voted this way, you'd think that'd be less likely.
Let's take Jerome, who's calling in from, looks like WTMA. Jerome, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello?
Hey, Jerome. What's on your mind?
Yeah. I just want to know, Trump was talking about how Democrats are doing lousy jobs in some of these cities with high crime rates.
Yes.
Just because Democrats are running them. Hey, did you know what state in the country, 50 states now, because he doesn't think Hawaii is a state because Barack Obama's from Hawaii. What state do you think has the highest crime rate in the whole country? Numero uno.
Washington, D.C.
Take a guess.
Are you not counting that?
Okay.
Alaska.
All right.
And you know who's they got a Republican to run that state, but he doesn't mention that though. They don't mention that. Chicago. They always do the dog whistle stuff. Hey, I know Chicago got problems. I know Louisiana got. I know Detroit, Washington. I know they got problems, but they never mention Alaska, the highest crime rate in the whole country.
I'll take a look at that. That's kind of interesting. I kind of feel it's like
as of 2018,
they're having difficult times even hiring cops because the natives don't want to be that guy that's ruling the other natives and stuff like that.
What kind
but
of
I think
crime
you're
are
right.
they talking about too? Is it violent crime?
I don't know.
Yeah,
take a look.
100,000 people.
Interesting.
That's
as of
drug use is really high
2018.
there.
Okay.
You get depressed when the things go on. Hey, Jerome, we're talking about the possibility of Trump not leaving office if he if somehow votes it don't go his way. What do you think the likelihood is of him saying, nope, those mail-in ballots are bad, and I'm not leaving office?
He's already doing that.
Okay.
Haven't you heard him?
Well, he hasn't.
It's corrupt. It's fixed. It's rigged.
Yes.
Hey,
Yep.
how's the guy that lost like by about, 2-3 million votes? Or how many votes lost Hillary Clinton, the popular vote, and he wins the electoral college. Before the election was started, he's saying, the political system is rigged. But when he gets in, now this is now the mail-in voting is rigged. Yeah, voter suppression. But you know what? I got him. I'm ready for him. I've already sent my mail-in ballot. I'm waiting until November. Okay, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Jerome will be there.
You gonna vote again at the voting booth?
Hey, whatever it takes, man. If I gotta crawl on my belly to get there, I'll be there.
Vote early, vote often.
Well, Jerome, I've got bad news for you. I don't think South Carolina is going to go blue.
Oh, what a surprise!
By the
way,
why don't you vote? Hey, if you don't think that South Carolina is going to go blue, I have a proposal for you. Why not vote Libertarian instead, or Green Party, or some kind of third party? Because at this point, who cares? If you know that you're not going to get your votes only go for South Carolina, can't be spread out over the nation, why not just vote for a third party?
Look, when you tell me about Libertarian, I got 2 words for you. No shot.
Well, they don't have a shot.
Well,
it doesn't matter if they have a shot.
No
neither do the
chance.
Democrats.
But neither
in
is who
South
you were
Carolina.
going to vote for in your state anyway.
I got to do what I got to do for my party.
All
you
right.
do what you do for whatever party you're with, okay?
All right. Well, I just like parties. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have 2 convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
We all have heard about the benefits of fish oils, but what about the presence of heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, furans, and other contaminants found in fatty tissues of fish? GCNteam.com recognizes this risk and offers IFOS certified tested omega-3 fatty acids. EPA, DHA insist on IFOS omega-3 fatty acid certification. Get the best at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203.
Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about what you want to talk about. It is Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Apparently, according to the Boston Globe, a group of experts got together to sort of map out, do a war game, essentially, on what would happen if Trump didn't leave office.
Interesting
in November.
choice of role-playing.
Yes. In
the entire country falls into the ocean.
In the chance of a very close election. So, let's go on here. It says, I think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. I really do. So, he told. This is, what was it? Kleinfeld? Couldn't be that guy. Anyway.
Those tip people.
Yeah, whatever. I think I've jumped ahead a paragraph. Let me go back one more. It is a fear that has been stoked by the president himself, who's repeatedly warned, without offering evidence, of widespread fraud involving mail-in ballots, which voters are likely to use at unprecedented levels because the pandemic has made in-person voting a potential health risk. To cast doubt on the results of November's election.
Without any evidence, yes, but as ballots are being sent out, there are anecdotal stories.
All kinds of them.
Of ballots coming in for people who haven't lived there in decades, getting mailed their ballot, and so...
They're not just anecdotal. I mean, all kinds of people are saying that this, I got this ballot for this person who doesn't live here anymore.
Right.
And... how do I know that person didn't get another ballot at another location? What if they got 3 and then they filled them all out? I don't know what's going on, right? So I don't know what's going on.
Nobody does.
I've always heard those stories about dead people voting in these important elections.
Indeed. I think that mail-in voting is going to rig the election. I really do. That's what Trump said, I guess. He told Fox News' Chris Wallace last Sunday when he asked if he would accept the election results, I'll have to see. Former Vice President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee, has taken to issuing foreboding warnings of his own. This president is going to try to indirectly steal the election by arguing that mail-in ballots don't work, that they're not real, that they're not fair, and he said in a fundraiser on Thursday night. He has also mused publicly about Trump having to be escorted forcibly, if need be, from the White House. That happened in one of the 4 scenarios the Transition Integrity Project gamed out, according to summaries of the exercises provided by the Boston Globe, They're going
to assault and drag out a 70-year-old man from the White House.
Yeah, well.
And then stand there with his dukes up.
Put another 70-year-old in. But the constitutional experts...
I think that'd be a little too much exercise for him.
He likes to get exercise by waving his hands around. Constitutional experts and the gameplay was less focused on the possibility of a cinematic, militarized intervention on Inauguration Day, which is a possibility many still consider remote, than the room the Constitution appears to leave for a disastrous and difficult transition if the incumbent does not accept a loss. Now, what happened in the year 2000 when Clinton left and Gore and Bush were vying for it? I mean, nobody really held the office. You could claim Gore did, but you know, that's the best. Gore was the closest claim to having it. And he stepped down. He let the Supreme Court make the decision. The Supreme Court said, this, and it doesn't matter about voter suppression in Florida and all the other things that happen, whatever. So I don't know what the Democrat will do in this circumstance, but it's kind of interesting.
Just wait for Trump to go to the grocery store, then sneak in and change the locks.
How well is our constitutional legal system designed to deal with an incumbent president who insists that he won an election, but for the presence of fraud, said Lawrence Douglas, a professor at Amherst College who has written a book on what would happen if Trump took such a stand. And I think the rather unfortunate answer is our system is not well designed at all to deal with that problem. Brooks, and remember, this guy is the commander-in-chief of the military, so the military has to break one way or the other. And, ladies and gentlemen, I've got news for you. Not only is the military marginally Republican, but the military's power structure, the officer corps, is dramatically Republican.
Why didn't that happen when they were talking about Bush not leaving office? Right? When Obama got voted in, why didn't the military just rise up and say, nope, still going to be Bush?
Yeah, but Bush didn't want to not leave office. I mean, he didn't say he was. I mean, he got his 8 terms. His 2 terms.
Right.
His 8 years.
They were concerned, right? They raised the same concerns.
These concerns were raised, but I don't think they're nearly as real as these particular concerns.
Okay.
Like, Trump isn't going to be happy unless he gets his 8 years.
Okay.
Because it's going to say that he was a failed president somehow. Think about the presidents that only got 4 years in the recent past. The ones that come to mind are Bush Sr. and Carter. And both of them are considered kind of, failures as presidents.
All right.
So, I don't think Trump wants to be seen historically as that. I think he wants to be the popular guy. I won. I'm a winner. And, if he's whatever.
Man, you still go down in history as being president.
Sorry, go ahead.
You still go down in history as having been the president.
That's true. I don't think he's going to be happy to leave that office without being impeached. Well, because,
Which he already has been.
Well, properly impeached.
Impeached and found guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he would accept that because I really think that his primary motivation is notoriety and fame. Like, your average run-of-the-mill politician is a power addict, and they will do anything they can to get more power and keep the power they have. He, on the other hand, doesn't seem to care that much about power, but he really cares about fame.
Yeah, he seems to care about the sort of like the numbers on his viewing and that kind of thing. And maybe he's found out that, in fact, the president isn't that powerful of a position. He's not God King of the world like he thought he was going to be. But I don't know.
He may have just exercised it differently because he's been a big fan of all the tariffs and the trade wars, right, as opposed to the military conflicts.
Yeah.
So in that respect, he has been wielding his power by threatening and levying tariffs on everyone who opposes the United States economically.
Well, how well is our constitutional legal system designed to deal with an incumbent president who insists that he won an election, but for the presence of fraud? Let's see. Brooks got the seed of the idea for the Transition Integrity Project after a dinner with a federal judge and a corporate lawyer. Each told her that they were convinced the military or the Secret Service would have to escort Trump out of office if he lost the election and would not concede. Brooks wasn't so sure. She and Gilman decided to turn the Washington parlor game into an actual exercise. They held an early meeting in Washington with about 25 people in December. When we started talking about this, we got a lot of reactions. Oh, you guys are so paranoid. Don't be ridiculous. This isn't going to happen. 2 things have happened since then. Trump has displayed increasing willingness to challenge mail-in ballots, and his administration has deployed federal forces to quell protests in front of the White House and in Portland, Oregon, and has threatened to do so in other cities. I would point out that those federal forces are basically faceless goons. They don't have a name tag. You don't have an officer number that you can report. They just say they're like wearing fatigues with like police written on the front.
Fatigues, helmets, dark shades.
Anybody can go to an Army Navy store and outfit themselves similarly. They even have police stores where you can go buy stuff like this. You can get it online. It's not hard. Any proud boy or person predisposed to violence could.
This Halloween, I'm going as Bortak.
I'm not sure Bortak is that.
No, Bortak. That was who actually did the Portland van thing. It was a tactical unit from Border Control.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
So just some federal guys going out there and kidnapping people off the street, and
very easily and quickly too. They just walked up. They were armed, and they come with us, and then that's off they went.
And believe me, those guys aren't going to jail for that. There will be lawsuits, and it will be interesting to see what happens. But those lawsuits will likely be decided after Trump gets out of, or after the election.
Not to mention qualified immunity.
So
just following orders.
Just following orders. That's really shaken people, Brooks said. And again, I don't care who wins in November. I'm not here saying I think that Trump is a bad guy or that Biden's a good guy or any of these things. I'm not. I think they're crooked old perverts.
For the sake of the country, though, don't you have to want Trump to win so that this doesn't happen? That there isn't this schism and divide?
For the sake of the country, don't I have to want Trump to win
to get his
so that there
term.
won't be this it wouldn't be why I would make a decision if I were going to decide between these two. No. But I suppose somebody may very well be saying to themselves, I mean, what percentage of the population? I don't know, 1/10%?
To avoid a civil war, all you got to do is vote for Trump.
Right. fall in line with the strong man, and everything will be fine.
There you go.
Isn't that how bullies work?
That's never gone wrong in the past. History just full of examples of that always going well.
You know, let me lament for just a moment. I've got 20 seconds here. Why did you Democrats have to vote in the worst possible choice? I mean, for God's sake. It's so awful. Free Talk Live. They deserve to lose.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,810, silver at $19.65, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,132. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic have already devastated the world. Over 14 million people have tested positive for the virus, and nearly 600,000 have died since it was first identified in December. And cases continue to rise. But the human cost from the economic fallout could be worse than the virus itself, as the world plunges into a deep and possibly prolonged recession, which will lead to disease and starvation across the global south. Mint-Press News reports that's why the international charity, Oxfam, is calling on the international community to agree to its proposal of an economic rescue package for all. The package entails 6 key features that it hopes to lay out across the world. The consequences of inaction will be extremely serious. As many as 12,000 people could die every day from COVID-linked hunger, which is more than those dying daily from the virus itself. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The Aurora, Colorado Police Department has been under scrutiny over the death of Elisha McLean for over the last month since it finally got the attention it deserved. Now, they are now facing yet another lawsuit after an officer with the department held a doctor at gunpoint on his own property for no reason. The Free Thought Project reports Dr. P.J. Palmer, who is an Indian American, was dropping off gear from a Boy Scout trip at the Mango House building, which is a community center and shared space for refugees that he owns. For those who may be unaware, Palmer founded Artist Family Medicine, a private practice that serves settled refugees, and Mango House, a home for refugees with activities and services that include dental care, food and clothing banks, churches, scout troops, and after-school programs. He's a pillar of the community and a selfless man who has dedicated his life to helping others. U.S. Customs and Border Protection published a new assessment titled Privacy Impact Assessment for the CPB license plate reader technology, outlining the agency's plan to combine its database on license plate images with ones from local and state governments, law enforcement agencies, parking garages, toll booth cameras, and financial institutions. Activist Post reports the U.S. has a massive network of automatic license plate readers typically found on police cars and toll booths, used to collect license plates of vehicles passing by. In particular, one database, called the Wrecker Public Safety Network, law enforcement are given real-time access to license plates. It captures approximately 150 million plate reads per month. To better protect the nation, the CPB's new assessment indicates it now wants direct access to those databases. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
But first, our parenting expert, Rebecca McCallum, is here with some advice.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rebecca. Now, Rebecca runs a popular parenting blog called Mom Magic.
That's right.
It's about the everyday parenting choices that could make a big difference on our children.
Rebecca, I read the blog a lot. My first question is, who the hell do you think you are telling me how to raise my kids?
You know, I have a degree in early childhood education, but my greatest education has been raising 3 beautiful kids of my own.
Okay, Rebecca, what other bullshit do you have the nerve to share with us this morning?
I talk about this in my book, and it does take a lot of effort, but parents really should teach their child a second language. My daughter Hazel and I are learning French together.
Wow, you know, I'll bet a lot of moms watching right now are thinking, F you.
Well, I get that a lot, but the window during which language acquisition skills are at their peak is really
whatever.
very
I
small.
wish I had done that. You win, but guess what I just remembered? You're not my boss.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do on Free Talk Live, and that's why we call it Free Talk Live. We've been going through this scenario here on the air where we're talking about the possibility that Trump doesn't leave office and the ensuing difficulties that might surround it. Because I think this is possible, right? Is it possible that Trump could lose? Yes.
It's possible.
Sure. Is it possible? Do you think he's going to win? Is that what your supposition is?
More so that it's possible that he will refuse to leave office, but I don't think that's very high up there on the likely scenario list.
I do.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
If Trump loses by a small margin, not by a large margin, he's going to say, in my opinion, that he lost because of mail-in ballots and voter fraud and things like that.
Sure.
And if you lost because of voter fraud, you'd demand a recount. And if the recount didn't go your way, and you were the commander-in-chief and a little bit megalomaniacal, then you might just very well say, this is going to courts because the Democrats' corruption runs deep. This is the deep state, or whatever. I mean, all the verbiage is there for this. Now, I'm not saying Trump's going to lose. I honestly believe that he's probably going to eke this out.
Okay, let's clear up this scenario a little bit then, because I will grant what you said so far with the demanding recount, take it to the courts, right? But I don't think is that the only fear that people have right now? Because sounds like the fear to me is that he will refuse to leave office and we will now have the commander in dictator presidency, right? Like nobody else gets to be in charge but Trump until he decides that he's done.
I don't think that that's the proposed scenario. I think that the proposed scenario here is that he just doesn't accept the results of the election as they are being, meted out already. I mean, both sides. Look, at this point, Democrats can probably pretty clearly say that they were robbed of the election in 2000 because of the way Florida, cleared the voter rolls and all that stuff, or they say that the Florida's not letting felons vote is wrong or whatever. So they already feel cheated. If you want somebody who will cheat, look for the people who have been cheated.
Right.
And then you're more likely to find them.
So if that's the case, though, if it's that they have been cheated in the past, then wouldn't it have behooved them then to do what they're accusing Trump of going to do now, which is be more judicious in the process, right? Challenge it, refuse to accept the results, get the recount done, take it to the courts as necessary, make sure that everything is lined up as fairly as possible to legitimize those results. And that's not how I understand the Trump's not going to leave office argument.
I think you've got a much more absolute picture of what is going to happen. I think it's much more likely to just, he wants his next term and then that's it.
Yeah.
He's not going to live much longer than that anyway.
But if he doesn't get it, right, if he loses the vote, loses the recount, loses in court, does he then sic the military?
If he loses all three. But the thing is that if you've already shown, look, how long does it take with the recount and all this other stuff? Because it's 11 weeks, right?
Okay.
What if it goes beyond January? He's like, we need to keep checking this thing. I need another court ruling on that. I mean, this guy has used the court system through most of his life to get what he wants.
Well, then he's going to have to like step down and then win on appeal and get reinaugurated.
Step down to whom? To Biden?
To Biden temporarily, right? If the initial ruling of the court says nope, you lost.
I doubt it. I doubt he's going to step down to Biden temporarily.
Well, he would have to like win on appeal.
He's going to lose his position even temporarily? I doubt it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying though, is if that's the case, then the concern is not that he's not going to lose fairly. It's that even if he loses, he's going to remain commander and dictator, right? And I don't foresee that as being the case either. Like if he just wants a fair election and he loses the vote, loses the recount.
So let's understand that he's in office already.
Understood.
And the judges that are going to make this decision aren't necessarily making every decision based entirely on law, but they might just be making it based on their sort of feelings on a given topic, right? Because emotions fit in. Do you want to destroy the republic over, if you're a judge, not you, I know what you want to do. Do you want to destroy the republic over this person who doesn't want to leave office? Because it's pretty clear he doesn't want to leave office. So it might just be easier to say, well, let him stay in there and maybe he'll have an aneurysm.
Okay. Now, I guess I wouldn't put it entirely past him to hand it off to Biden and then come back for a non-consecutive term, because that would make him more famous.
It would be very rare for that to occur.
Grover Cleveland, I'm pretty sure, is about it.
Yep, Grover Cleveland.
I mean, it's possible. Again, when I hear the Trump won't step down scenario, it's not that Trump will do whatever it takes to make sure that the election is fair. It's that Trump will not leave office, period.
Well, fair. I mean,
well, fair meaning you get the recount if you demand it, right? You get the court if you think that the recount was fraudulent. You get the courts to decide. At that point, if the courts have decided, who else can you appeal to, right? At that point, you go like, okay, you get, like, take your lumps like a man and vacate the office.
I definitely wonder how many mail-in votings they're expecting to have this year. Because in any ordinary year, it'd be just a matter of like, okay, well, I hope that he either wins or loses in a greater margin than the mail-in ballots, which is pretty easy to do in a usual year. But with
this year, it's going to be a lot of them.
Yep.
And, are the Republican ones or the Democrat ones just going to get lost in certain districts? Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean.
So he has a case.
Right. I'm not saying I absolutely believe he does. Look, I saw the Ron Paul footage of what they did with the ballots here in New Hampshire, and they put this sealing tape on that you could just pull off. I mean, this tape that was supposed to be tamper-proof tape. I mean, you could just pull it off, put it back on the box, pull it off, put it back on the box. It wasn't tamper-proofing anything. There was no tamper-proofing these boxes of ballots. Who knows what happened with them?
Again, so he's already got a case.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He has a case.
So if he doesn't want to leave,
that's what's important.
Adjudicate it as far as it can be done.
Yep.
And then you have to, at some point, you have to either accept the results or you have a dictator. Well, and I don't think he's going to stay the dictator.
Well, and one thing we know for sure, we're not going to see what happened in 2000, because there's not going to be a situation where it looks like he won and he goes, no, that's okay, just hand it to the other guy.
Which, in retrospect, is a kind of an interesting scenario, because Al Gore had, of the two candidates, Al Gore had the office more than Bush did, in so much as he was the vice president and there. He had been in the actual Oval Office very recently, as opposed to Bush, who wasn't. And so if they wanted to, just decide how things were going to go in the meantime, I'll just take over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could have been done. Anyway, let's go to Vernon calling in from Louisiana. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live.
So I've been on the fence about becoming an amplifier.
On the
fence?
I
had a question, and I called in a few weeks ago with this, and I was just told if I don't want to do it, then I don't have to listen and I don't have to do it. And I think it's a really legitimate question that others might have. While Ian's not on there with you, I wanted to ask for your opinion on why it would be good for me to amp Free Talk Live, even though you all are a commercial program. I can totally see why I would do it for a non-commercial program. They obviously don't have any other funding source, but Free Talk Live sells commercials, obviously. So can you explain the benefits to me and why that's why that is helpful for Free Talk Live, and I'll take the answer off the air, and thank you.
Thanks for the call, Vernon.
The commercial-free AMP podcast.
Well, yeah, you can get the commercial-free podcast, and you don't have to worry about many of the ads. You'll still get the live reads. Plus the fact that the AMP program allows us to decentralize our base. Free Talk Live, because we're a libertarian program, because we take hardline libertarian stances on issues, and those aren't always popular, deals with a lot of problems that many commercial programs don't deal with. Yeah, we're commercial so that we can get greater distribution. And we also have fewer ads than most commercial shows do, too, because we're trying to provide as much content in this commercial time frame as possible. Further, that basically Free Talk Live, I've worked for other radio stations, and I can tell you that Free Talk Live has ad rates that are the same rate as the oldies station I worked on 20 years ago. Less, in fact. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit divvyproject.org. divvyproject.org. News from Bitcoin.com. Twitter hacked, Bitcoin blamed. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace will soon have a Bitcoin logo on his car. Banks will make $18 billion in fees on COVID-19 relief funds. Bitcoin Cash still lets you control your own money. PayPal confirms it's developing cryptocurrency capabilities while still shutting down accounts of crypto users. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to their channel on YouTube.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Free Talk Live.
If anybody else wanted to know how to do it, y'all gave them the information, and plus how to get illegal drugs, how to get hand grenades, and I mean, this is a free country, but I don't, but you gave out web addresses, Silk something.
The Silk Road is a revolutionary website that allows people to buy from the black market in a much safer manner than they currently buy, and I'm all about harm reduction, Bob. I think that reducing harm...
This is great for a free country. Let's get everybody on to safer illegal drugs.
Do you think anybody did crack after watching our show that had never done it before?
That's part of your liberty, that because it's okay with a lot of people, let's make sure we have it. Let's keep advertising.
No,
I
think that it is not my right to tell you what is right or wrong to put in your body, and nor is it your business to tell me what is right or wrong to put in my body or what I'm going to do with my uterus.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free as in freedom. Call in and talk about what you want to talk about. We're talking about this war game scenario if Trump doesn't leave office, basically. What's going to happen? And it looks like Richie's a little skeptical of the whole scenario.
Because I've heard it before.
It doesn't have to be new to be possible.
It's always been possible.
But these were authorized war games role players. Like
What's that mean?
These people have
political LARPers.
Like they have credentials. I mean, this is a credentialed weirdo theory.
They've got 3 letters after their name. T, I, and P.
That's right. It's the what's it called here? I don't have the name of the group here, but they were calling it something. I don't know. I'll find it in a minute. The last caller called in about our AMP program, so I want to tell you about our AMP program. Our amplifier program, which is, we are a commercial station. We do sell, ads, but I will say that we have never sold ads as well as the big guys. And I think in part it's because, although we provide compelling content and great service to our radio stations, we are not what they're used to. When I go to the Talkers magazine thing, they very much look at us like, how do you guys do it? The publisher of the magazine actually, when Ian was on stage, said these boys did the impossible. They described our show as impossible because we are hardcore libertarians that are on the radio. And the way we did that, basically poverty, is essentially how we did it. It is just, intending to make this happen. So, if you want to help us diversify the base of people of our financial support, the AMP program is a great way to do it. Now, we only use the funds from the AMP program to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live, but every organization has to have a marketing budget, so it's great to have a marketing budget, and you help us decide how much that marketing budget's going to be. Just like Gene the Christian Anarchist has, who's a very long-time amplifier, and we've met him several times at conventions. That's the thing about being an amplifier. Not only are all the bennies of getting a commercial-free podcast and just a whole bunch of different things. There's
a Discord channel.
Yeah, there's a Discord channel. There's a call-in line. But also, you can come to town and have lunch with us. Like that kind of thing. That's how we do it with the amplifiers. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's AMP, amp.freetalklive.com. If you like freedom of speech and if you like liberty, we're for you. amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to David calling in from California. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, yeah. How are you?
Hey.
First of all, I've said many, many, many times that Trump is organized crime.
Okay.
And if he were to do a coup like that, his alliances, you can never trust organized crime.
All of politics is organized crime.
No, it isn't. Every local politician is entirely different and has different motivations. So, that's the big lie.
Hold on. I think that there's a disconnect here, right? So just because normal people participate in politics doesn't mean that they're not the most successful armed gang in a given geographic area. Are they an accessible one that you can potentially be part of? Sure. But
can you go down to the library, check out a book, and not be, your arm twisted behind your back and beat up in the alley?
Can you go to your public school? Can you trust your public schools that you're going to actually come out with an education?
No. 20% of people who leave government school are functionally illiterate by their own numbers. 20%.
I don't believe that.
Well, you don't have to.
My bigger picture.
Look it up.
My bigger picture.
Go ahead and
is,
talk about Trump. You can just ignore everything we say about government.
Well, the bigger picture is time value of money.
Okay.
And so if you were to look, I'm baby boom. So I remember when I first hit the work market, and 20 hours at minimum wage would buy 1 ounce of gold.
Okay.
20 hours.
All right.
Now, if you were to go with the ounce of gold today, $1,900 for an ounce of gold, it would take you 253 hours to buy 1 ounce of gold at the current minimum wage.
It's all Trump's fault.
Not 20 hours.
Yeah.
Not 20 hours.
I think it's 10 times that. And I think this is the very best thing that we could be telling Democrats right now, David, is that the fact is that the problem is at its base the money. And government has become so profitable because they can hide their graft and corruption at the highest levels.
The problem is you keep calling it the government.
Okay.
No, it's the corporate state. People have talked for years that you should put a decal on the politicians because they don't represent the people anymore. They represent whether they're corporations or whether they represent the corrupt.
Why do the corporations buy the politicians?
Because they want to abuse us.
No, because the politicians have the power. Of course the corporations are going to buy them.
I'd agree with that.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is giving the power to the politicians. If you gave it to the people...
Well, let's look at the Epstein angle of it.
Excellent.
Apparently Epstein
I know he didn't kill
able
himself,
to
I can tell you that much.
Sure, but apparently Epstein was basically able to blackmail so many politicians, that he was able to dominate politics throughout the world. And it still exists.
Epstein
As a matter of fact,
Israel, but I repeat myself.
Well, yeah, Israel comes into it.
Same problem, though. It's because the political structure is there for him to grasp power onto.
Well, what would you're throwing away with the baby with the bathwater when you say that?
Well, look,
libertarians, you libertarians try to use the American dollar to your own advantage, but you'll throw it away in a heartbeat.
What does that
mean? We have a better option,
Bitcoin, crypto.
Well, that gets right to my point. You remember a couple of weeks ago, Trump tried to fire one of the U.S. district attorneys in southern New York, a guy named Berman. And he tried to replace him with a guy, I believe he's from the Treasury, a guy named Clayton. Turns out Clayton is very into cryptocurrencies. Now, you remember Pete Rose, the baseball player, was busted for betting against his own team.
WWE Hall of Famer Pete Rose.
He was going to be in the Hall of Fame, but when he got busted, he's never going to be in it. Now, when you start taking a guy in the U.S. Treasury who is very interested in cryptocurrencies, and he's betting against the U.S. dollar, right?
I'm listening to where you're going. Okay.
Well, isn't that treason?
I think that's a very marginal form of treason. Well, what about taking?
If you actually look at the Constitution, where it talks about monetary policy, it says gold and silver, and it talks about how the states will be able to mint their own gold and silver. There's no mention of anything like this fiat currency that's constitutional. I mean, they had to institute that later. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's treason to uphold the original founding document.
Well, but in the case of Clayton, he's not trying to go to gold or silver. He's trying to go to an imaginary currency that all of a sudden, if the electricity goes off, nobody can prove their value, right?
Can't prove the value of the dollar if the electricity goes off either. It's mostly digital.
Well, sure you can.
All right, well, you can have a bill. It's not backed by anything. All the best. Thank you, David. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
Moose is the German Shepherd, now 11, and he's been an amazing dog. Moose is so active and so alert and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has a beautiful coat, and at 11, he'll still run and chase the ball. He has been on Dynavite since he's a puppy.
Dynavite for life.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road. DINOVITE.com.
We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark at freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I'll tell you about Bitcoin.com. So, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin has been on a little bit of a run here recently. There are people predicting that it could go to 60,000 from 10,000 to 60,000 in a relatively short time frame. It has historically spiked and then gone down. Maybe.
But trends upward.
Yeah, trends upward, yeah. But maybe this is the time you ought to check it out. So go to Bitcoin.com. They've got a getting started section there. They've got a place where you can get a wallet. You can get some Bitcoin Cash right there on the website.
And for those that know a bit more about Bitcoin, you can go to news.bitcoin.com, and they try to cover all the news. I do a little news.bitcoin.com blurb in the commercial breaks, and you can also subscribe to their YouTube channel, which I do. And I think it's great.
There was a recent article that Bitcoin was declared to be money by a U.S. federal court. So there's that on there as well.
Yep. It's perhaps
not just
that's the reason.
electronic currency, but electric money.
Let's go to back to this article here from Boston Globe, talking about this scenario where Trump doesn't leave office. The game was elaborate. The participants took on the roles of the Trump campaign, the Biden campaign, relevant government officials, and the media generally.
So
Democrats
they really are role-playing this. Like they're putting on the Trump hair wig. And
Democrats played Democrats. Republicans played Republicans and used a 10-sided die to determine whether a team
Are you serious?
succeeded in its attempted
You're kidding
moves.
me.
Nope. The games are not...
I wonder how much these people are getting paid for this.
And why aren't they using a 20-sided die? If you're going to go full
Critical
Dungeons
hits?
and Dragons.
No, I'm with them on that one, actually. I believe in the D10.
I'm with the D10 too, because you can roll 2 at once and then you have a percentage. So anyway, the games are not meant to be predictive. Rather, they are supposed to give people a sense of possible consequences in a complex scenario. Each scenario involved a different election outcome. An unclear result on election day that looked increasingly like a Biden win as more ballots were counted. A clear Biden win in the popular vote and the Electoral College. And an Electoral College win for Trump, with Biden winning the popular vote by 5 percentage points. And a narrow Electoral College win and popular vote victory for Biden. In the scenarios, the teams playing the Trump campaign often questioned the legitimacy of mail-in ballots, which often boosted Biden as they came in, shutting down post offices, pursuing litigation, and using right-wing media to amplify narratives about a stolen election. To some participants, the game was a stark reminder of the power of incumbency. And it is, especially in the case of somebody who's the chief executive of the most powerful organization in the world, it's pretty meaningful to be the incumbent.
That's true across most of politics or organized crime.
Yeah, but if the mayor doesn't want to leave office, the governor can come in and say, yeah, you got to go.
That is true.
If the governor doesn't want to leave office, the president can come in and say, yeah, you got to go. But if the president doesn't want to leave office, we don't really have good systems for who's going to say, yeah, you got to go.
The Supreme Court.
Well, as Andrew Jackson is quoted as saying, is if they like their rulings, they can enforce them. The more demonstrations that there were, the more demands for recounts, the more legal challenges there were, the more funerals for democracy were held, the more Trump came across as the candidate of stability, said Edward Luce, the U.S. editor of the Financial Times, who played the role of a mainstream media reporter during one of the simulations. Possession is 9/10 of the law. In multiple scenarios, officials on both sides honed in on the narrowly decided swing states with divided governments, such as Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, hoping to persuade officials there to essentially send 2 different results to Congress. If a state's election is disputed, a legislature controlled by one party and a governor of another could each send competing slates of electors back to their party's candidate. Both sides turned out massive street protests that Trump sought to control. In one scenario, he invoked the Insurrection Act, which allows the president to use military forces to quell unrest. The scenario that began with a narrow Biden win ended with Trump refusing to leave the White House, burning government documents, and having to be escorted out by Secret Service. The team playing Biden in that scenario, meanwhile, sought to patch things up with Republicans by appointing moderate Republican governors, including Charlie Barker of Massachusetts, to cabinet positions.
All of these scenarios are just a made-up construct as part of the simulation, though. Right?
What do you mean?
Like they're saying...
No. They have it on good authority of the D10.
Okay, well, it's partly what
the 10-sided die never lies.
Well, part of this was made up.
There's an infinite number of scenarios that aren't being discussed.
Sure.
Because they are not talking about it.
Right. Those weren't the scenarios that were being discussed. Anyway, like they said, this is the scenario, and we're going to play through the scenario as the scenario is discussed. Because Trump wins by a landslide in 48 states. Doesn't have a, which is not likely, doesn't have much of a chance of causing unrest.
Okay.
You know, Who cares? If Biden winning by a landslide in 48 states, all right, well, it sounds like we got to get that guy out of there because there was a win. But narrow wins and mail-in ballots and claims of voter fraud and demagoguery and all this stuff, I mean, all you have to do is go watch Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or any of that crap, and you're going to see
no, thank you.
what this could look like. They're already doing it.
Okay.
The demagoguery already exists.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, all I'm saying is that this is possible. Not that it's probable. I'm not rooting for it. I'm not looking for blood in the streets, but it's possible.
Aren't we overlooking the real story here, though? That all those D&D players were actually preparing to be in a think tank.
Indeed, they were. I certainly was. The scenario that produced the most contentious dynamics, however, was the one in which Trump won the Electoral College, and thus the election, but Biden won the popular vote by 5 percentage points. Biden's team retracted its election night concession, fueled by Democrats angry at losing yet another election despite capturing the popular vote, as happened in 2000 and 2016. In the mock election, Trump sought to divide Democrats, at one point giving an interview to The Intercept, a left-leaning news outlet, saying that Senator Bernie Sanders would have won if the Democrats had nominated him. Meanwhile, Biden's team sought to encourage large Western states to cede less unless pro-democracy reforms were made. And yeah, this is already going on. There's
wait. In this scenario, Biden is suggesting that states secede?
Yeah, that's what it says. States to secede unless pro-democracy reforms are made.
That's what I'm saying. This is political fantasy in the construct of a game.
And it's poorly constructed political fantasy. Like, I'm sorry, but like I could see that from Trump. Like, honestly, because who knows what he's going to do, least of all him. But neither Biden nor any part of the Democratic establishment is going to suggest that secession is a possibility under any circumstance.
Well, the Democrats here were played by Democrats, so, okay, I agree that sounds outlandish. But essentially what the Democrats have been trying to do for some time is get states to agree to a contract that says that all of their electoral votes go to the winner of the popular vote so that they can make an end run around this.
Right.
Now, you can say what you want about the president being chosen by the Electoral College or by the popular vote. I don't particularly care. I don't really care in this scenario, but okay. I mean, I get it either way. The Electoral College is the way that we currently decide who's president, and the person who wins that vote is the president.
And this just seems like a waste of a
game.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Not it.
Okay, I said if you're playing to win the popular vote, you're playing the wrong game.
Right. And this seems like a waste of a hypothetical because that seems like a realistic scenario because it just happened.
The scenario seemed highly far-fetched, but it envisioned a situation in which both sides may have incentives to contest the election. There's a narrative among activists in both parties that the loss must be illegitimate. According to the Constitution, the presidency ends at noon on January 20, at which point the newly inaugurated president becomes commander-in-chief. So we'll see what happens
better
then.
Put up another fight then before, because that was contested.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, Medicaid, or have private insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM can automatically and easily help you manage your diabetes more effectively. And by using a CGM, you can eliminate the one thing most people with diabetes dislike the most: finger sticks. Now you can automatically manage your diabetes and end the painful finger sticks. Solara Medical Supplies makes it simple for you to have a new CGM. We'll do all the insurance paperwork for you and deliver the newest in diabetic care technology right to your door. Take charge of your diabetes today with the help of a new continuous glucose monitor. Call now to learn more. 800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. That's 800-547-5331.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, formerly Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, Air National Guard and Reservist. I'm looking for veterans, active duty military personnel to join the 90 for Life crusade to save America. She needs your skills, courage, and loyalty more than ever. Contact GCNteam.com. Because of the financial and healthcare collapse, veterans are currently struggling finding jobs. Frustrated looking for a job? Change your tactics. Join the 90 for Life crusade to save America. Start a healthcare business with FDI Longevity 90 for Life crusade. Contact GCNteam.com immediately. We're looking for military specialists who can use a computer, can communicate information, and execute a battle plan. Join the admirals, Navy SEALs, Marines, pilots, Army officers, military police, sheriffs, police officers, firemen, and first responders already enrolled in the 90 for Life crusade. Contact GCNteam.com now. FDI Longevity will help you apply your military skills to the task of saving America through health and financial programs. Contact GCNteam.com. Enlist in GCNteam.com and save America.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about. We've, for the last nearly 2 hours, have indulged my fantasy. Not that I'm hoping for this. I'm not. It's just I imagine the possibility where there's a close election in November, and it goes Biden's way, but Trump wants a recount, or believes that the ballots are inappropriate because they're mail-in or whatever the situation is, and then there's some kind of lawlessness going on in the streets of America. And considering the activities of just the last month or a few months, it's very believable.
Just give them each 3 rolls of that 10-sided die. Highest point total gets to be president.
I don't see why, randomization is not appropriate in a role-playing game. So the fact is, the Boston Globe is reporting on a case where an organization called TIP, which I can't remember what that stands for, put together experts and had them role-play the possibility of all this occurring, and it wasn't pretty, basically. So there you go. Anyway.
I actually think it's very pretty that they ended up with a scenario of secession.
There was a possibility that they weren't saying actual secession, just being that states were being incentivized to secede because that would pull out some electoral votes or something. I don't know. It's all very interesting. So
Anyway, moving on to conservatives are scared of something?
Not just conservatives, mainly conservatives. Land of the free, home of the brave. Most Americans, especially conservatives, admit they are afraid to say what they think.
Okay. Yeah, it does seem. I think that freedom of speech is really in question right now. I mean, so many young people in college are saying that they just don't like the idea of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the patriarchy. It is white supremacy. It is whatever it is they don't like.
Yeah, only those are allowed to speak.
Literally Hitler.
A new poll by the Cato Institute shows 62% of Americans feel they must censor themselves from openly expressing their political views, in some cases out of fear of losing their jobs or missing career opportunities.
Okay. So they said in some cases. So not everybody feels people are censoring for all kinds of reasons, but some of the most blatant are the opportunities not to take positions, and that's absolutely true. There's companies that are saying, they're firing people over this kind of stuff.
Right. It's cancel culture taken away from like the celebrities and the politicians down to the average everyday man who, when you cancel him, there goes his job because you called his boss and said, look at what he said on Facebook. Look at it.
Right.
How far do I have to go back in time to tell someone that, hey, so a friend of mine got fired because he said all lives matter?
Right. Not too long. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Not too far.
The fear is especially common among conservative respondents, 77% of whom agreed that the current political climate prevents them from saying things they believe.
I wonder if it's going to get better. Is there a president we can elect in November that's going to make the political climate less contentious?
Do you want me to say Joe Jorgensen?
Well, yeah, fine.
Kanye?
I'm willing to vote for Joe Jorgensen. I'm willing to vote for Kanye. I'm willing to vote for anybody but those two.
Oprah.
I'm willing to vote for Oprah.
That is my prediction.
I know.
For the record.
Please go ahead and make your prediction.
Okay, so my prediction, since Biden has already said that he is going to have a black woman as his running mate, and since Kamala Harris is the only known name that's in the
possibility,
right, and I would not suggest that they run Kamala Harris during this whole hatred of police thing,
right? Because considering she was an attorney general,
right,
whatever the term is, state's attorney. I would have to agree with you. That's the case. So
my prediction is that it will be Oprah, and that something will happen to take Biden out of the race, and that's who the next president is going to be.
So Oprah has certainly been politically active, up to endorsing, Obama and these kinds of things. She's politically active and pretty clearly a Democrat, or Democrat-leaning. She is widely loved and respected and revered, and I would think that this would be, and probably the reason they won't do it, the most sane thing that they could do is to send somebody in, send a delegation in.
A well-spoken, articulate?
Oh, please don't say articulate.
Ever again.
When it comes to Oprah?
I'm just teasing. Biden got all kinds of trouble for using the term articulate to describe
clean.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, clean.
Okay.
Yeah, if Oprah if they actually did manage to get Oprah to agree to be the running mate, and then maybe see how she works in the polls or something. I don't know whether
it'd be quite a turnaround from Blue no matter who, that's for sure.
I think it would, and I don't think they even have to pull Biden out. Like, he could just be a figurehead or involved in the presidency or something like that. Because if you read, I think it was called The Veep or whatever. I'm sorry, if you the movie that had about Dick Cheney. The suggestion is that Bush met with Cheney to be his vice, and Cheney's like, well, we're going to have a special relationship, you and I. And Bush is like, yep, okay. And it could absolutely be done, that you're going to have more than the glass of warm spit, value that is the VP, and that she could actually be in charge of some things that she wants to be in charge of. And I think that would probably be good and healing for America, and that she would likely that would be a runaway ticket. But I don't think they'll do that because just look who decided.
It's sane.
Right, look who they made their presidential nominee. He's awful. They're running against a crooked old pervert
who is as weak as a Republican has been in my lifetime.
Barely a Republican,
a formerly Democratic donor, and who do they pick? A crooked old pervert to run against a crooked old pervert. Like, his number one weakness, Trump, is that he's yucky, when it comes to all kinds of issues, and they find Biden, who is equally as yucky, telling stories about how he beat up some black guy at the school, at the community pool or something, or was almost beat up by a black guy. Whatever.
Well, you see, he was provoked. It was very clear in the story that he was provoked. See, his blonde hairs would stick up, and they were brushed down. Yes, on his legs, and they were brushed down by the people in the pool. So you can see clearly how this story just holds together.
I have no idea what it is. It's the craziest thing he was talking about. Just rambling on. Please go on with the scared conservatives here.
This week's study showed that even among centrist liberals, 52% said they must censor their opinions.
Right.
That compared with...
Now, those people are more likely to vote for Trump this go around because, I mean, who are you going to vote for in this particular election when you're like, the Democrats decided to put up the worst possible candidate? Trump at least is for freedom of speech.
I don't know. Centrist liberals strike me as largely, if not entirely, or at least a majority, like blue no matter who. Like, blue no matter who strikes me as a very centrist liberal way of thinking.
Well, maybe that's so.
Whereas the far left is like, screw you, we wanted Bernie, and you're not giving it to us.
Right.
We don't like this guy.
And they may not vote at all.
That's likely.
That's
I
possible.
couldn't blame him.
I would say that I believe that a certain amount of men in the country, and I think many of those men were white, but I think more of them in this election will be black, voted, and even Latin. I believe they voted for Trump, but said they didn't. I think they just...
Bound to be a lot of that.
Hey, look,
ladies, and with no paper trail.
I'm not going to tell my wife I voted for the molester, but there you go. And that's why absentee ballots aren't so great, because, the spouse gets to see. I can tell you, when my wife and I voted absentee, we looked at each other's ballots.
How dare you?
And that's how we decided to do it. So what are you hiding there, honey?
Who I'm voting for.
Right.
Obviously.
Well, that isn't exactly a formula to get the kind of attention that you might want later on. Just saying.
It is impressive that it's a majority of centrist left voters that still feel that they cannot speak. I mean, a majority on the left still thinks that they can't say what they actually think.
Well, that's because you can't express a logical, reasonable opinion anymore without being considered some expletive
and screeched at.
Well, you saw how they came down on J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, what was her claim? It was basically that.
So she thought that the trans movement was repealing the progress that they had made for acceptance of homosexuality.
And the women's movement. Because if you have no genders, then the women's movement was nothing because we weren't women.
She's a TERF.
Yeah.
It's trans exclusionary radical feminist is the terminology. I don't know that she is. I'm not saying she is. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Are you concerned about freedom of speech in this country? Many people are. Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,810, silver at $19.65, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,132. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic have already devastated the world. Over 14 million people have tested positive for the virus, and nearly 600,000 have died since it was first identified in December. And cases continue to rise. But the human cost from the economic fallout could be worse than the virus itself, as the world plunges into a deep and possibly prolonged recession, which will lead to disease and starvation across the global south. Mint Press News reports that's why the international charity, Oxfam, is calling on the international community to agree to its proposal of an economic rescue package for all. The package entails 6 key features that it hopes to lay out across the world. The consequences of inaction will be extremely serious. As many as 12,000 people could die every day from COVID-linked hunger, which is more than those dying daily from the virus itself. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. The Aurora, Colorado Police Department has been under scrutiny over the death of Elisha McLean for over the last month since it finally got the attention it deserved. Now, they are now facing yet another lawsuit after an officer with the department held a doctor at gunpoint on his own property for no reason. The Free Thought Project reports Dr. P.J. Palmer, who is an Indian American, was dropping off gear from a Boy Scout trip at the Mango House building, which is a community center and shared space for refugees that he owns. For those who may be unaware, Palmer founded Artist Family Medicine, a private practice that serves settled refugees, and Mango House, a home for refugees with activities and services that include dental care, food and clothing banks, churches, scout troops, and after-school programs. He's a pillar of the community and a selfless man who has dedicated his life to helping others. U.S. Customs and Border Protection published a new assessment titled Privacy Impact Assessment for the CPB license plate reader technology, outlining the agency's plan to combine its database on license plate images with ones from local and state governments, law enforcement agencies, parking garages, toll booth cameras, and financial institutions. Activist Post reports the U.S. has a massive network of automatic license plate readers typically found on police cars and toll booths, used to collect license plates of vehicles passing by. In particular, one database, called the Wrecker Public Safety Network, law enforcement are given real-time access to license plates. It captures approximately 150 million plate reads per month. To better protect the nation, the CPB's new assessment indicates it now wants direct access to those databases. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I know I shouldn't, but these muffins are delicious.
And we'll share our favorite recipes later in the hour, but first our guest says don't give in to road rage. Stay calm behind the wheel and coolly plot your road revenge. Danny Preston is a defensive driving instructor who teaches people how to control their temper behind the wheel. Welcome, Danny.
Thanks for having me. Danny, there's nothing I hate more than getting cut off.
That drives me nuts. I want to scream out my window.
Getting into an argument with a stranger isn't going to accomplish anything but stress you out.
Well, how should you respond instead?
In 1996, some guy gave me the middle finger after I cut him off. I recognized him from TV. That's when I decided to become a defensive driving instructor, developing the skills I needed to eventually be invited on his show as an expert. Now, once you're there, it's just a simple matter of switching out his muffins with the ones you made yourself. How many did you eat?
What? I don't know.
Thank you so much for sharing your tips, Danny.
Danny is not my true name.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Final hour. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450, free as in freedom. Richie, we're talking about people generally in the United States, conservatives specifically, are afraid to speak their minds.
Right.
Not just because they may not get promotions or they might be fired or a variety of things, but there's a lot of evidence that in and of itself is plenty. Right? Like, I mean, I remember there was a newsman that got fired for using the N-word as a quote. As a matter of fact, just using the N-word as an example here.
There was a professor that got heat for that, too.
Right. There was the Papa John's CEO. Yep. He owned the company, or basically did. Created the company.
Yeah.
He had to step down for just using the N-word in a way that was not racist or mean or spirited or anything like that. It's just that the fact that he would have the guts to utter these two syllables together.
And heaven help you if you assign Tom Sawyer.
Right, and you know, now you can't assign Mark Twain because, you know, well, he was trying to write books about how he was saying that blacks were people too in a time when it was tough to say these things. Whatever. It's just like, you know, people are very thin-skinned, it seems.
Well, and one thing that I thought was, it's nice to have the actual facts and figures on this, because I've definitely seen that a lot of the reasonable people on the left are watching their party go insane, and they can't talk about this. And now, I think this is wonderful because they're starting to go more and more our direction, going, now, okay, well, what else is there? I don't want to be a Republican, and my party's going nuts. So
we've had a college employee was fired and had to sue to get his job back because he was reading a book on lynchings in the South. Insane. Reading a book, like not a book that was pro-lynching or anything. It was just a book with a picture of a lynching on the front to kind of give you an idea of what was going on.
A good descriptive book cover.
Right. You know?
Seems like an important event that we might want to know the historical context to, not repeat.
Well, and that's another thing. I've had conversation with family, when it comes to this sort of things. I go I can read Mein Kampf and not turn into a Nazi, right? I can read the Communist Manifesto and not turn into a commie. It's just information. It's just a book. You can still hold on to your position. You can still read about lynchings and not have the desire to go out there and lynch anybody at all, because it's just historical context.
Absolutely.
Or better yet, have the exact opposite motivation and hold on to it.
Right. Yes. Well, then you'd just be, I don't know, informed. Right. Yeah. Like this is what's the idea. If your philosophy is so fragile, so brittle, that it can't handle people being informed about the other side of the philosophy, then you don't have anything that has any kind of historical staying power.
And the sad thing is, I don't want to make this a left-right thing, but it's usually the left who holds that position, right? It's usually the left who is shouting down, the conservative side when they're trying to articulate their position.
Yeah, I found this to be a very insightful statement, which is that Republicans often say that we think they're wrong and they think we're evil. Now, again, I have held office as a Republican. I consider myself to be a libertarian, and I can see why people lump libertarians in with Republicans. I don't see it that way. I don't think we're the same. And there's plenty of Democrats that have come to the Libertarian Party, but
because libertarians aren't going insane right now.
That statement I believe to be true. Well, libertarians are always a little kooky.
It's strange that that's one of the only places you see a real focus on your fiscal opinion. Because, as far as we don't like taxes.
Republican.
Right. Okay, how often do you really see that much focus on it? Where it's we also just think you should be left alone and not thrown in jail, and we shouldn't have more and more police and more military, and we shouldn't just blow places up across the world because we feel like it and want their stuff.
Now you just hate America.
Yep, right.
None of that keeps us from being Republicans, apparently.
Indeed. Right. Now it's, you're either a Republican or a stoned Republican is their choice.
So the study, again, for centrist liberals was 52% said they must censor their opinion, compared with 45% in 2017. So it's jumped like 7%.
So, and this is another issue is that basically if you're a centrist liberal, if you have opinions that liberals would have held simply 10 years ago. I'm not talking about when the term liberal created, before that, whatever I get
classical liberal.
Right, the origins of the word. I'm just talking about a liberal from 10 years ago. You are now the enemy of many of the people out there that are getting the bullhorn of power.
You are now a Nazi and can be punched in the face.
Right. I mean, remember the highly liberal Democratic mayor of Minneapolis was shouted down by a crowd of protesters because he said he was unwilling to, completely abandon the police department. He'd talk about defunding or whatever, but completely, that was it. Shouted down, booed out of there. Oh my God.
Well, know your audience, man. If you're going to be a politician and give a political speech, at least tell them what they want to hear while you're in front of them.
Well, then he's just lying.
Well,
and that would be special for a politician.
It wouldn't be new.
Obama could not belong to the Democratic Party of today when he was elected. I mean, he wasn't in favor of gay marriage. Can you imagine? There's no way they can allow that kind of deviance.
I don't think he was actually against gay marriage. I think he was just sort of biding his time, but whatever. That's just speculation on my part.
Well, who knows what he actually thinks?
Right. They're politicians.
Exactly.
Also in 2017, 57% of moderates said they couldn't openly express their views. This year, 64% of moderates are self-censoring, so another increase there.
So it's 6 or 7% increase. So
in about 3 years.
On both sides.
Those aren't huge numbers, but...
Well, not even both sides.
It's only from 2017.
From central liberal to moderate.
Remember, 2017, the whole PC culture thing was still going on. I think that the people have claimed that the start of it was either in Canada when they were, passing some law that basically said that you couldn't use the wrong pronouns or you'd go to jail.
That's how Jordan Peterson got famous.
Yeah, that's the one. Or there was a situation at Yale over Halloween costumes.
Cultural appropriation?
Yeah, that one.
And we've definitely seen continuing purges in YouTube and on Facebook. So I can't blame these people for changing their opinion of, okay, now I'm starting to get worried.
Yep.
Only strong liberals feel at liberty in the current political climate to say what they think, though the portion who fear speaking openly increased to 42% in 2020 from 30% in 2017. The report reveals a jarring phenomenon in a country that was founded with freedom of speech as the first God-given right enshrined in the Constitution.
Right. I mean, it's that important. And I mean, the Enlightenment thinkers felt like if you can't handle an opinion that isn't yours, then you don't deserve freedom of speech. Like you don't deserve the blessings of freedom of speech. I mean, the idea, the hubris in the notion that somehow today, in 2020, we're just mere decades from our ancestors pooping in holes. I mean, that we have all of the answers of what is right on every issue. Because that's what you have to believe to shut everybody else up.
Well, and you also have to look at why are we doing this at all? Why have a nation? Why not just run around clubbing each other when we disagree? Okay, we wanted to do something instead of violence. And talking to each other is the only other option.
Yes.
So if you take away our option of talking to each other, what do you think it's going to get us?
So what would you say to the point that may come up where this is not freedom of speech issue, this is a freedom of consequences to your freedom of speech?
Well, what do you mean?
You can still say what you want, you can still express your opinion, but you're not free from the consequences of that speech.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Just understand that pendulums swing, and that today the benefits that the far left liberals are enjoying with all of the movements that have been going on, they will swing back, and it ain't going to be pretty. Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Moose is the German Shepherd and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has been on Dinovite since he's a puppy. DINOVITE.com. We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dinovite.
Dinovite for life. You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret Shaving Oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE as in freedom. Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
Want to tell you about Intercoin. Thanks to Intercoin, every member of a community can receive a periodic airdrop of money that they can use on necessities. This UBI can be funded by outside donors or by the community democratically voting to gradually inflate their own internal money supply. Community currencies powered by Intercoin enable communities to help their own without waiting for the federal government and without disincentivizing paid work. The arrangement is completely voluntary and democratic. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in the real world. And we think that's so important here on Free Talk Live that we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Inc. for advertising. If you think freedom's important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make some big gains, or you can just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. That's Intercoin, spelled with an I, intercoin.org.
Going on? All right. The report reveals the jarring phenomenon in the country that was founded with the freedom of speech as the God-given right enshrined in the Constitution.
And this is the report that people are basically across America feeling threatened to, it's just too threatening to share their opinion on topics.
Self-censoring, basically, for fear of repercussions. The breakdown of the results corroborate the view that only far-left views are tolerated in today's society. It's not only staunch conservatives who are being targeted by cancel culture, as evidenced by the resignations this month of New York Magazine columnist Andrew Sullivan and New York Times opinion writer Barry Weiss.
Now, think about trickle-down economics for a second. Now, trickle-down economics, you pretty much think of, when you hear about this, as a widely discredited form of economics from the Reagan administration. I think that would be like a way to describe it. Now, I don't believe that trickle-down economics is widely discredited. However, I can see why people believe that it is. In fact, I believe that the political process is corrupt and the trickle-down economics would have worked. But the problem is that there's just a bunch of criminals in between where the money starts and then where it ends, and they all take their piece.
So it's kind of like the problem that a lot of people have with capitalism. It isn't.
Right. Right. Trickle-down economics isn't trickling down, and capitalism isn't, a fair system in the way that it functions today.
And I would say it depends on where you look, because in a lot of consumer goods industries, it absolutely works, right? Like, consumer goods become cheaper.
Yes.
Where people are able to purchase more higher end goods. Right. And I think that is a function of that trickle-down economics.
It is. I think you're absolutely right on that. But when you think about trickle-down economics, people largely think of it as discredited. Well, what's it going to be on these leftist policies that are being purported today, that are being trumpeted here? Are they going to be successful? Well, the people that are purporting them, like say defund the police, no. I mean, that's not going to be successful in the long run because, look, government programs tend to grow, and the government agents are always going to be the ones with the power. That's why you shouldn't have them. That's why you should have never allowed them in there in the first place. You shouldn't have allowed for the growth. But the idea that these liberals have that we're going to take the corrupt state and we're going to make it not corrupt. I've been trying that for 9,000 years.
And when it comes to defund the police, I wouldn't be surprised if it shows to be working that the police themselves aren't the ones out there being provocateurs, causing chaos to show why we need them.
I can see why well, I mean, this was what union busters do. It's not union busters, the union people on strike that sort of make it so that the scabs can't get through the line and stuff like that. They just, they pervert the marketplace.
Yeah. Consider that the New York Times stood by its August 2018 hiring of Sarah Jeong to its editorial board, even after it came to light that she had posted racist, anti-white messages on social media. But imagine if she would have posted any of these things talking about any other group besides, I think it was whites. Yeah, it was just whites. This was anti-white, racist, anti-white message.
Yeah. And if you'd inserted any other ethnicity's name in that, it would have been unacceptable.
Well, and that was a fun story recently when a guy was going on about, the sort of weird pseudoscience of melanin is actually what makes you a good person. And, it was fine for him to do that until he pointed out that Jews also don't have melanin. He was fine right up until he started talking about that. And then hashtag Jews sort of showed up in trending for a while.
Yeah, there you go.
But any other group, you couldn't get away with any of this.
Weiss was compelled to quit because she said she was bullied by coworkers for being a political centrist. The Cato report also suggests that there may be some...
Hold on, who was bullied to quit? Weiss was this... Who?
New York Times opinion writer Barry Weiss.
Okay. And by the way, there's been quite a few heads roll over at New York Times to the point that now they're saying that this is just the young Turks, essentially, of and that you've got to have a far left opinion to be at the Gray Lady. I mean, remember, this is the most respected news agency in America at one point. And now it is just completely populated with far leftist stuff.
That was parroted earlier in the article. Only far left views are tolerated in today's society. Like if you don't have the far left view.
Wall Street Journal said that they're not putting up with that.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you go.
We'll see which direction their subscription goes.
Well, they I suspect that some people who feel like they're no longer being served by other news agencies probably signed up for the Journal. I will say this, it's hard to get their articles. You can't just get them online. You have to be a subscriber.
That is true as well.
I think that a misdirected Wall Street would have a lot more consequences than the misdirected populace. Those people can make actual change. They need to have some real idea of what's actually going on.
So I guess they need the news. Okay.
The Cato report also suggests there may be some truth to the theory that many Trump supporters are afraid to tell pollsters that they will vote to re-elect the president. Former Trump press secretary Sean Spicer last month cited a Democracy Institute in America poll showing that 37% of Trump supporters would want their friends and family to know how they voted, while 74% of Biden backers would be comfortable with their voters being known, with their votes being known.
See, there you go. These far leftists have made it acceptable to pick that particular crooked old pervert over the other crooked old pervert. Right. I mean, 6 one, half a dozen the other, and it's absolutely.
Even when the crooked old pervert news came out, they were like, well, still not Trump.
And remember that the young man with the MAGA hat on from a few years ago that had the Native American protester guy in front of him.
He's starting to win his lawsuits.
He's winning his lawsuits.
Yeah.
Right?
The smirker.
Right, the smirker, right. The press.
Nick Sandeman.
Is that his name?
I believe so.
Yeah, the world's most punchable face.
It was just so believable that this kid was a racist that they could just
write a story about it, and it just got eaten, gobbled up, and then when they find out they're wrong, whatever, we were wrong, but we were right, really.
Oh, we had video? Oh.
Whoops.
But I think his latest tweet, like yesterday or the day before, was 2 down, 6 to go. As far
this kid's
as
going to be rich.
Oh, yeah.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE, here on Free Talk Live. News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seize $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward Liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the Liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about what you want. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 450 free. Just finished an article about how people in America are afraid to speak their minds because at this point only far left opinions are those that are acceptable. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
And one of the things that it makes me think about is a pretty common thing in libertarian thought of the seen and the unseen. So, okay, there's what you can see happening, and then there's all these things that don't happen that you can't necessarily even find out what they are. So, okay, how many ideas? And I mean, sure, if you obviously can't say I like Trump or something like that, and that's not a new idea. But how many ideas have people had, never expressed, and then forgotten about because, well, I don't want to, I might upset the far left, like this might step on someone's toes. How many thoughts, how many possible conversations have we lost because because everyone falls victim to the chilling effect?
And universities were supposed to be, beacons for free thought. They were supposed to be places where new ideas were, that's what the whole liberal arts education's about.
Challenging the ideas that you came to the university with.
Well, and Indeed. It's not just stepping on toes, right? It's I'm going to get fired from my job. My family's going to be destroyed if I express this idea and they decide that they're targeting me next.
Let's go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
You're wrong, sir.
I've been that before. I'm married. I know.
I disagree.
No, you're wrong about, besides everything, you're wrong about that Nick Sandman being the most punchable face in America.
I'm just repeating what the article said.
Oh, okay. No, the most punchable face in America would be that of New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham on the George Stephanopoulos ABC This Week program today, which can be seen online if you want to look at her little pudgy gopher cheeks. It's pretty amazing.
Did they declare that on the air, or are you just saying she's the most punchable face because you have issue with
it? They declared, George Stephanopoulos said it on This Week, ABC, whatever it is. He said, wow. Governor Grisham, you have the most punchable face in America.
Interesting.
Yeah. You believe that?
No. someone had to take up the title.
No, I don't believe it. There you go.
The mantle has been passed.
We came up with video, and now we all feel kind of weird about wanting to punch a teenager who was doing nothing at all. So, I mean, someone's got to pick it up.
Yeah. So anyway, so she basically blamed all of New Mexico's problems on President Trump on this Stephanopoulos program.
Oh, why wouldn't it be?
It's pretty funny.
So what is that cross that's in the middle of the New Mexican flag?
That was stolen from the Indians, and they're a little bit mad about it. The Zia Pueblo, that's their ancient symbol that they came up with.
When you make that into a silver pendant, and you hang a little thing that says you can hang it off a necklace, it looks remarkably like an inverted crucifix.
Well, actually, what you don't know is New Mexico secret is that before she goes on air, she folds back the little extensions on the ends of the Zia and turns it back from a swastika back to a Zia so she can go on air. And then after she gets off air, she pulls the little tines out again, folds them over, and it becomes a swastika again.
I don't believe it.
Actually, that's also an Indian symbol.
Yeah, well, there's lots of swastikas are not by any means.
Talk about your cultural appropriation.
Yeah, right.
We're taking it back.
Oh, good.
Good luck with that.
So anyway,
you first.
So anyway, her appearance on that program, she obviously she hit all the points. She's being used as a pawn for the furtherance of the lefties, and Stephanopoulos is obviously on the left. The whole thing was his program. I don't watch it, but whatever it is, a half-hour program. It's just an entire program that's an infomercial for the Democrat Party is all it is, and so they did that whole thing. They had Mayor Keller on there at the beginning, just before they had his response to Trump, just before they had the governor, and he was doing the same thing, blaming Trump. And it's really, if anybody, for those that follow politics as a hobby, I would if you already have that hobby, you know who they are. I wouldn't recommend it, but New Mexico is an interesting little fishbowl right now with from the governor Lujan Grisham to the mayor of Albuquerque, who is also he's not going to stay as mayor. He's trying to do the same thing that MLG is doing. I mean, she's been mentioned as a possible running mate for Biden because she has a vagina and has theoretically has not white skin, or at least she labels herself as Hispanic. So that's the only reason that she
don't look Hispanic to me, but you never know. By the way, Hispanic isn't a race. They put it. The people who put it on these lists are absolutely ridiculous. Latin might be arguable in some way as sort of some kind of ethnicity if you wish to put everybody from Argentina on up to Mexico in the same big melting pot. But it doesn't include the Spaniards, so they call it Hispanic. Hispanic means somebody who speaks Spanish. Look it up.
Right.
Look it up.
Well,
hold on before you go on. That means that the Hispanic is now the only ethnicity in America where you can become it by simply learning to speak a language. It's insane.
Good to know.
How much Spanish do I have to speak to claim to be Hispanic?
I don't know. Maybe you can just be a little bit. See?
Do I have to be conversational?
Go ahead, David.
Well, remember they came up with when the Trayvon Martin thing went down. George, what's the shooter
Zimmerman.
guy?
Yep.
Anyway, Zimmerman. So he's not Hispanic. He's a white Hispanic. We came up with that lingo.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I never heard him called a white Hispanic. I heard them erroneously call a man named Zimmerman white, which certainly makes sense. But then you look at him and it's like, what kind of white guy is that?
Well, he can be a white Hispanic
right.
if he's a white dude that speaks Spanish.
Right, there you go.
Well, they
but he's not white.
Well, the lefty media could not have, it would destroy their whole narrative if they had a brown guy shooting a black guy. They couldn't have the black guy be a victim and have the brown guy be the perpetrator, so they had to label him not Hispanic but white Hispanic. So that's why they threw that whole thing in there. And back to Michelle Lujan Grisham, she would be one of the quote unquote white Hispanics. And
they
actually,
certainly are. If you hold, they certainly are. Existence of people who look very, very European, that are within the ranks of Spanish speakers out there. Let's go to Jason calling in from Kansas. Jason, you're on Free Talk Live. Thanks for the call, David.
All right, Will.
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about all the extra police epidemic we got going around here, Brian. As far as, and why they have such a target on their head.
I don't know what you're saying, Jason. Talk right into your phone.
Epidemic.
I'm talking about why the police around here think they can just profile and target certain individuals for such a long time, as longer than 16 years, and
because
act like
have
that
the guns.
they can just,
Because they
have
the
a gun.
guns.
Well, just say that. Well, guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Well, and it's not just guns; they have authority. Because, like, if anyone not carrying a badge and a uniform did what they do, like, you'd be upset.
Okay. Let me change this real quick. How come we don't have no constitutional rights in Salina, Kansas? We only have privileges.
So I don't know. Why don't you tell me your story,
the
Jason?
The judge said that herself. What?
That judge is wrong.
Let's get deep into it.
What? Hold on.
I guess all my charges and all my handouts and all my, I guess my ex and my was going to be and everything else. I guess I wore them kicks out. My 4, 5, 6. I guess I wore them kicks out then, didn't I?
I guess so. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. It sounds like he's been treated badly by the judicial system, but
haven't we all?
It is true that you don't have rights in court, and depending on which court you're in, they will not see the Constitution at all.
I have had courts say, "Yeah, we're not going to talk about the Constitution here."
Yeah, they do not see that document at that court.
Which is very strange, considering it's the highest law in the land. Doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not their jurisdiction. Right, they have the laws in front of them, and if you want to challenge that law at a constitutional level, you have to appeal your way up to where it is.
And good luck getting into the Supreme Court, which are the only ones that can actually notice that the Constitution exists.
There you go.
Well, that's terrifying. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The Mech Tech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I've treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. I might be able to squeeze you in here in the final segment of Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Richie Rich.
Let's go straight to the phones, guys. Let's go to, it looks like Hola, me llamo Pat from Michigan.
He's
Pat,
Hispanic.
You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, you guys there? Yeah, I'm an Irishman, but hola.
Hola to you too.
I can adopt a culture.
Hola.
I'm going to be a Mexican.
There are Irish Mexicans. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. You got it.
They're as drunk as the ones in America, aren't they?
And a reverse swastika to honor the Apaches.
That's right. I know they have that too.
It'll be a lot of fun.
And even more Irish
No, but
Hispanics.
seriously, if you take a mirror image of a swastika, that's an Apache peace sign.
It is.
Understood.
Yeah, it's
no one cares.
It's also called a it's also called a swastika.
Yeah, good luck taking that
I
back.
didn't call
You
in
first.
just to give you. I didn't call in just to give you guys a giggle. Here we go. All right, so
All right,
we
go
got
ahead.
a problem here. We got. You've all heard the expression, "the squeaky wheel gets the grease," right?
I've heard that.
Right. Well, that's because it needs maintained. It's not because it's useless and doesn't work. Right now, we got about a third of the country that's squeaky wheels, and they all think they need a sugar tit, and
does
we
that
can't
mean?
provide sugar tits for the whole damn population.
I believe it is sweetness pouring out like milk.
I gotcha.
A sugar tit is basically a rag soaked in, like you make rock candy.
I didn't even know this existed.
It's just something for a child to tease on while they're being just uncomfortable.
Gotcha. Okay, and everybody, I don't
new every
disagree
day.
with your analogy here.
Now that you understand it.
But you said the squeaky wheels were useful, and I'm not entirely sure that.
No, I'm saying the squeaky wheels are getting they are not pulling their weight.
I see.
They're squeaking because they are inactive. A wheel that doesn't spin gets rusty and doesn't work right.
Got it.
So we have to help the squeaky wheel rather than.
We got to kick them in the butt and send them downhill or something.
There you go.
I don't know how you do that with a squeaky wheel.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Pat. Oh,
So
let's
the
go
squeaky
to.
wheel gets the grease, not an infinite amount of welfare. Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's go to the AMP-only call-in lines here. There's some indiscernible scribblings of a person who's called in, and we'll just see what they have to say. I'll hover over the dump button. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes, it is actually Sumerian cuneiform.
Okay.
And
nice.
It means freedom. It's me, Mortified Penguin.
Yes.
Does it look like that?
But it means freedom.
Similar.
Yes. So I'm calling actually about. I'm not really calling about any of the protests or any of that stuff. Haven't really called about it. Haven't been listening during this whole thing. But I don't really want to wade into that. But I want to call about freedom of speech because I have called about freedom of speech before, and I think it's really important when it comes going forward. Now that we're at this kind of pivotal point, especially to emphasize freedom of speech is an important cultural thing. It's not something that's created by the First Amendment or by the government.
Yep.
And the reasons we need it, and not to sideline it, like apparently, some people certainly want to do, is because historically, look who is the biggest sideliners of freedom of speech and curtailers of freedom of speech. And historically, look who has benefited the most by free speech, I should say, and freedom of speech.
Men like you.
White people.
Well, no. The marginalized groups, minorities, people with unpopular opinions, which have traditionally been from, less powerful classes of people, of like I said, marginalized groups, people criticizing powers that be, establishment and government power, the warfare state, etc. And people need to take a hard and fast look and to see, look who controls the levers of powers now. Look who generally controls the levers of power throughout history, and say, do you really want to lessen our grasp on the
Mortified Penguin? I don't really care what the gender or color of somebody who's speaking is. I mean, like, there's all kinds of people out there that have crappy opinions that are white, and all kinds of people out there that have good opinions that aren't. And like, one of the consequences I'm seeing is that, for instance, I saw a video of this lady, this black lady, who was talking about how the sign at her school was racist and marginalized her because it had sharp corners and it was painted red.
I think I remember seeing that.
Like, it's absolute
Mark, I don't
babbling
know quite where
nonsense.
I don't know quite where you're going with this one, but I am with him on as far as, like, who does free speech benefit? It's not the ruling elite. It's not the people that are in power in any given system.
It doesn't. Yep, absolutely.
That's not who benefits. It's change that.
But what I'm saying is that oftentimes people are given a platform because of their gender, because of their color, and the things that they have to say are not, like, just guffawed at when they should be. Like, some people have bad opinions, and we ought to point that out. They ought to get a chance to say them, but you know, like we don't go,
It is a lot harder to have a sense of humor when you're so worried about hurting someone's feelings.
That's exactly right. Go ahead, Mordecai Penguin.
I think, you know, it's a marketplace. So I mean, basically, free speech, she gets to say it. Free speech, you get to respond to it, and I think you certainly do. And I don't think the majority of people will find. I mean, if haven't heard the lady, I don't know if you characterize her correctly, but I don't think most people would find that to be like a reasonable thing to say. I mean, there's some people with some offbeat opinions, and you know, not only is it unpopular opinions that need to be defended, but it's just some weird stuff.
Well, no. It is unpopular opinions that need to be defended, and exclusively unpopular opinions. Like, no one gets in any trouble for saying what's popular. That's just not a thing. If it's a generally recognized popular thing, like, I'm going to be so bold that I'm going to say slavery is bad, you don't need to protect that. It's popular. Everyone knows that. Now, if I have an unpopular opinion, that's where you need to go, okay, let's make sure this guy doesn't get stabbed for saying this until he finishes his argument.
So how far do you go to defend it, though? Because if it's an unpopular opinion that's divisive for whatever reason, do you not speak out against it? Do you not give the opposing opinion to try to take that down simply because you want to protect unpopular speech?
Well, I'm saying the unpopular speech is the only ones that need to be defended. Now defending that doesn't mean not disagreeing with it. It doesn't mean that you don't take it down, and by no means does it mean you stop making fun of it.
Okay.
It's very important.
Yeah, debate and argumentation are also just examples of speech. I mean, what's important is to say there's a lot of bad speech and a lot of dangerous speech. Actual speech has danger and potential harm to it. But what's the greater harm? And actually, I just listened to a podcast saying when I said a lot of these things, I really agreed. That what's the greater harm is the greater harm, putting in the regime of censorship and having state censorship of speech going forward, whatever kind of speech.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's so. Obviously, we need freedom of speech. I think that what we're seeing now is that, for instance, the left and the right protesters that were out in the last few months, you're seeing the people on the left saying to the people on the right, "Hey, you with your guns, why aren't you out there protecting us when the government's literally disappearing people in the street, which is what you said they were going to do?" And the people on the right are saying things like, well, where were y'all when we were standing at the courthouse trying to open this country back up? And that people are just so divided that there really are two Americas, and I don't think they're going back together.
I looked at it as libertarians fighting on two different fronts, right? There's those that want the censorship, which libertarians are against, but then when they're getting taken off the street, do you really care? I mean, you want to protect the ability to speak out, but at the same time, if you're going to have to fight them again down the line, right? You protect their ability to speak freely by speaking out against the Fed or using your guns to protect them from being kidnapped, but then they're still going to attack you afterwards. They're going to
So because statists are going to state, and I'm not here to defend statist stating personally. You know, hey, you want more government? Here it is. This is what it looks like.
Then who's going to protect you when they come for you, Mark?
And by the way, that's what government is. Government is the monopoly on violence in a given landmass. And, you know, as you advocate for the government to get bigger, you're advocating for threats of violence against your neighbors. And that's just ultimately what it is. And who's going to stand for me? I don't know, man. Nobody's standing for me. That's why I'm demoralized. You know, like they're not. You know, they don't care. They don't care about my opinion as long as I pay my taxes for the programs that they advocated for. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of statists out there. I mean, that's the kind of the default position. We're at a point where it's just been, you know, I hate to overuse this word, indoctrinated in society for so long. But like, honestly, you know, I don't really honestly expect to be fighting like left-wing protesters or even communists or the Boogaloo or the right wing runners out there. I don't think they're going to fight me. Personally, I'd rather protect their speech and have them protest some really awful things that the state does, and not worry about whether I'm gonna have to fight a civil war, because I don't see it. Sorry.
Thanks for the call. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,810.